You think you want a pet eagle. What you actually get is a 400-pound bone-crushing grip locked onto your arm, an apex predator that maps your house in 8 times human resolution, and a federal investigation over a single dropped feather on your own kitchen floor. This is the brutal truth of what happens when a bald eagle decides you are its mate for the next 50 years. A bald eagle weighs about as much as a house cat. This fact is responsible for a significant number of very poor decisions. This is a hypothetical what-if scenario. Owning a bald eagle is a federal offense and harmful to the bird. Everything you are about to hear is educational. Eagles belong in the wild or in accredited facilities. When you imagine keeping an eagle, the biology does not immediately alarm you the way it should. It is not 400 pounds. It doesn't need a steel enclosure. You have seen people hold one at nature centers and county fairs. 12 pounds, a wingspan you could measure with a tape measure. What you are not yet accounting for is this. From the moment it arrived, that bird has been watching you. Not the way a dog watches you, waiting to be fed, tracking your energy. The way a system watches you. It processes your living room at 8 times the visual resolution of the human eye. 2 foveas per eye, each functioning independently, like 2 telephoto lenses running simultaneously. It sees the mouse inside your wall cavity. It has a precise record of where you have placed every object in this house. It has already made several decisions about you. You are only now starting to understand what those decisions were. Let's start with the law. There is more of it than you expect. The bald eagle has been the national symbol of the United States for over 200 years. It appears on the presidential seal, the dollar bill, and the official insignia of every branch of the armed forces. It is a federal crime to own one. The Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act, passed in 1940 and amended multiple times since, makes it illegal to possess, sell, purchase, transport, or import a bald eagle, alive or dead, or any part of one, including feathers. A feather it sheds in your home, on your floor, in a room you own, is a federal violation to touch. The penalty for a first offense is up to $100,000 in fines and 1 year in federal prison. A second offense is a felony. There is a dedicated enforcement division within the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service whose specific job is to prosecute exactly this. The feathers shed by a captive eagle go to the National Eagle Repository in Colorado, which redistributes them exclusively to enrolled members of federally recognized Native American tribes for religious use. That is the only legal recipient category for eagle feathers in the United States, which means you have to call a federal agency to report a feather from your own bird in your own house on a Tuesday. This is your administrative life now. The only legal route to keeping one requires an educational display exemption from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, reserved specifically for non-releasable birds, injured beyond recovery, used in public educational programming. Federal agents visit your home annually to verify compliance. Even master falconers, the highest certification in U.S. falconry, requiring 7 years of active practice, cannot legally possess a bald eagle under standard falconry permits. This is specifically noted in the federal code. By name, bald eagle, not permitted. Eventually, through a specific combination of circumstance and paperwork that takes approximately 2 years and a level of institutional patience most human beings do not possess, you are approved. The bird arrives. It is young. It is remarkable. You have no idea what you have agreed to. The eaglet's brain is open, not metaphorically. During the first weeks of a raptor's life, a neurological window is active, a developmental period during which the bird's brain is forming the answer to one question: what species am I? In the wild, the answer is formed by the parents. Weeks of exposure to adult eagles imprint the bird's brain with a template of its own kind. This is called sexual imprinting, and it dictates every social and reproductive behavior the bird will ever have. With you, the answer to "what am I?" is a human being in cargo shorts who delivers pieces of thawed quail and makes unfamiliar sounds. This window closes before the adult feathers arrive, before the bird is anything close to mature. And whatever was encoded during that window is, according to decades of raptor research, essentially permanent. The imprinted bird may successfully mate with its own species if no humans are present, but given the choice, it will always orient toward the species it learned first. You are that species. At this stage, you do not yet feel the weight of that. You are mostly just feeding it quail and finding it very compelling. The weight arrives in January. Before we get to January, you need to understand what has been happening in your house since the bird arrived. A bald eagle has 2 foveas in each eye. The fovea is the region of highest visual acuity. Humans have 1 per eye, a shallow depression in the retina. The eagles are deep, highly convex structures functioning like biological telephoto lenses. The front for wide-field scanning, the rear for locking fine detail at distance. Their retinas contain approximately 1 million photoreceptors per square millimeter, 5 times the density of a human eye. Vision that scores 20 quarters on the standard chart. What you can see clearly at 4 feet, the eagle resolves with identical precision from 20 feet away. They also see in 4 color channels: blue, green, red, and ultraviolet. UV light completely invisible to you registers as color to the eagle. In the wild, this lets them track the trails of small prey across open fields in daylight. Your house, from the eagle's perch, is not the place you experience. It is a high-resolution map of every movement, every pattern, every living thing inside it. Since week 1, the bird has been constructing an exact behavioral model of your daily routine. It knows which door you open first in the morning. It knows your cat uses the hallway at 11 p.m. It has had a working theory about your cat for several months. You live here. The eagle studies here. In January, the studying becomes purposeful in a new way. Bald eagle breeding season runs from December through April across most of the continental United States. In the wild, a male selects a territory, performs complex aerial displays, and directs sustained courtship behavior toward a chosen mate. You are his chosen mate. The courtship behaviors of a sexually imprinted male bald eagle directed at a human keeper include the following: continuous eye tracking across every room you enter, aggressive territorial posturing toward any other person who approaches you. It registers them as competing suitors, and vocalizations. Sustained, structurally urgent, high-volume vocalizations. A bald eagle's breeding call reaches approximately 115 decibels. It begins at nautical twilight, roughly 30 minutes before sunrise, because that is when bald eagles in the wild begin their territorial and courtship activity. This is biological. Hormonal. It cannot be redirected. It cannot be trained out. It cannot be waited out. It runs from December through April, every single morning, starting before the sky is light. Your neighbors file a noise complaint with the city. The code enforcement officer who visits listens to your explanation. He writes something in a small notebook. He looks at the mews. He writes something else. He does not say anything for a while, but the noise is not the part that stays with you. Regurgitating prey for a mate is a core courtship behavior in raptors. The eagle has brought you a gift. It has assessed what it can provide and formally presented this assessment on your kitchen counter at eye level near the coffee maker. You have been in a committed relationship for 4 months without being consulted. The other party is becoming more serious. You stand in your kitchen for a long time. If you want to know what 400 pounds per square inch of passive grip pressure does to a forearm, and what the federal government formally requires you to do about the feathers accumulating on your kitchen floor, stay with us. New here? Subscribe now. 1 animal per week. A bald eagle's talon closes with between 300 and 400 pounds per square inch of pressure, 10 times the grip of the average adult human hand. But the force is not the most important detail. The most important detail is the mechanism. Eagles, like all raptors, possess a passive tendon locking system in their feet. When the bird's toes curl around something and the ankle joint bends, from landing, from gripping, from spreading its wings for balance, the flexor tendons engage against ridge sheaths in a ratchet pattern. The grip locks, without muscular effort, without conscious decision. The bird does not choose to maintain it. The architecture maintains it automatically. To release, the eagle must deliberately reposition its weight and extend the leg. Until it does, the lock holds. Falconers have a specific term for this state: keen. A bird at peak hunger, fully engaged, tracking movement. Your hand moved. The sequence initiated. The talons followed. You do not alarm the bird. You do not pull your arm away. You stand in your kitchen with 300 pounds per square inch of passive grip locked onto your forearm, waiting for the eagle to decide it is finished. 17 minutes. The eagle shifts its weight, releases. and steps back to the perch. It shows no further interest in the event. It is looking out the window. You go sit down. Your cat, who has been watching from the doorway, makes a quiet decision and leaves the room. The cat has made the correct analysis of the situation. The eagle has maintained a detailed behavioral model of the cat since October. It is a bird whose ancestors evolved to pull salmon from rivers mid-flight. It understands patience at a level that requires no conscious thought. You move the cat to a different part of the house permanently. An eagle with a 7-foot wingspan that cannot fully extend, it develops feather-destructive behavior, methodically pulling out its own feathers in response to chronic spatial stress. This is clinically documented. You cannot keep the bird in a standard room long-term. You build a mews, a proper outdoor flight aviary, minimum 20 feet long, 10 feet wide, 8 feet high, weatherproofed and predator-proof to federal inspection standard. Construction runs between $10,000 and $18,000 before permits. Feeding costs approximately $100 per month, whole prey items, fresh. Fish, quail, rabbit. The organs and bones are nutritionally necessary. There is no simplified alternative. A bald eagle in captivity lives between 30 and 50 years. You are not feeding it for a decade. You are not feeding it for 2. Between the mews construction, annual federal permit fees, inspection costs, veterinary bills, and up to 5 decades of whole prey delivered fresh, you are looking at a 6-figure lifetime commitment to an animal the federal government considers among the most protected on the planet. You will also spend every one of those years being legally responsible for each feather it drops. There is a specific morning, somewhere around year 3, that you will be able to recall in complete detail for the rest of your life. It is 5:17 a.m. It is January. You have received 14 noise complaints from 4 separate neighbors, 2 formal letters from the Homeowners Association, and 1 visit from City Code Enforcement who has added your address to a file that is now 3 pages long. You are standing outside in a coat, holding a bag of thawed fish, while a federally protected apex predator calls at 115 decibels from 12 feet away because the breeding season started 11 days ago and every morning now begins exactly like this. The neighborhood is fully awake. Someone's porch light has been on since you came outside. The bird finishes and steps up to its high perch. It turns and looks directly at you through the wire mesh. This is the part that is difficult to explain to anyone who hasn't done it. The bird is not indifferent to you. It is not a display piece. It is not decoration. It is, in the specific neurologically permanent, biologically irreversible way that its developmental architecture allows, completely oriented around you. It chose you before it had adult feathers. It has studied you at 8 times the resolution you can see yourself. It has memorized your schedule, your movements, your patterns in a level of detail that no other living thing you will ever encounter will match. It did not choose this. You did not choose this. The critical window chose it. And then the window closed. And here you both are. You pick up the empty bag and go back inside. A bald eagle in captivity may live for 50 years. This bird, which imprinted on you before its adult feathers came in, which has built the most precise behavioral model of you that any living thing will ever possess, which left a partially digested rabbit on your counter as a formal declaration of intent, will be your legal and biological responsibility for the next half-century. You cannot release it. An imprinted eagle released to the wild will approach humans. It does not recognize other eagles as its species. It has no template for wild survival. Release is not freedom for this bird. It is a slow, certain end dressed up as one. You cannot transfer it without triggering a new federal permit process taking years, after which the bird will still orient entirely around you, because that is what the imprinting encoded. The federal code is specific on this. Biology is more specific. You are its person. That designation was made when it was 10 days old and is not subject to revision. Somewhere between the noise complaints, the rabbit on the counter, and 17 minutes standing in your kitchen waiting for your arm back, something formed that has no clean name. A routine became a relationship. The most precise visual system in North America has been trained on your face for years. It sees you in a resolution you will never see yourself. It calls at 115 decibels before sunrise every January morning, because the biology says this is how you tell the thing you have chosen that you chose it. You tried to keep a bald eagle as a pet. The bald eagle, operating strictly within its own behavioral architecture, decided to keep you. If you have a cat named Luna or a dog named Max, subscribe to this channel right now.